Hi. Shh. I'm patient. I have 2 kids under 13. I'll wait. Kidding. Sorry. I hope you enjoyed your dinner. Did you enjoy your dinner, everybody? Yes? You might be finishing your desserts, but just know we are heading into the sweetest part of the evening, pun intended. Let's take a moment first, let's hear it for the chef and the staff here at the Ritz-Carlton. Thank you so much. It's delicious. All right, now we can focus on the next part of our program, which is the celebration. As Alan said, tonight's gala is made possible thanks to the generosity of our presenting sponsor, J.P. Morgan Chase. Chase has been a longtime partner of Operation Homefront, helping the organization launch the Permanent Homes for Veterans program, which has helped Operation Homefront award more than 600 mortgage-free homes to military and veteran families since 2012. We are so proud to have their support for this evening as well, and I am pleased now to welcome Carolina Giannicelli, Global Head of Diversity, Opportunity, and Inclusion for J.P. Morgan Chase, to share a few remarks. Carolina.
Good evening, everyone. I am Carolina Giannicelli, Global Head of Diversity, Opportunity, and Inclusion for J.P. Morgan Chase. Before I talk about why it matters for J.P. Morgan Chase to be represented here today, I would like to talk about why it matters to me to be here with all of you today. I was born in Managua, Nicaragua, small, poor country in Central America. And in 3rd grade, in the midst of a very violent civil war, my family left Nicaragua and moved to Costa Rica, which is where I grew up. I knew nothing about Costa Rica. I only knew that I left my cousins, my grandparents, my friends behind, and I had to figure out how to cope in this new place where people actually weren't that happy with the Nicaraguans coming over. But I learned how to just be curious and adapt and understand different ways of thinking. And I eventually made a great group of friends, and I have beautiful memories of my years growing up in Costa Rica. When I finished high school, I embarked on my second leg of my immigration journey, which is coming to the United States to go to college. Again, completely new culture, first person in my family to go to college, adapting to the very cold Boston winters, which I was nervous about the cold when I came to school. But again, you adapt. And like they say, there's no bad weather, just bad gear. So, I learned that early on, and that was like a great tip. And then, of course, came a third pretty massive culture shock, which is when, I decided to give mergers and acquisitions a shot in Wall Street in the 90s as a Hispanic, Latina, first-generation immigrant to the United States. So to say that I empathize with the challenges of change and figuring out how to operate and not only succeed but thrive in new environments really would be an understatement, because I know it's hard. We hear about the incredible accomplishment of these 7 incredible women, and that doesn't just happen. It's the result of hard work, grit, heart, showing up every single day, betting on yourself, believing that you can do things, and really caring deeply about the work. I learned that when failure is not an option, curiosity and innovation are not nice-to-haves, they're must-haves. and you just figure it out, and you show up every single day ready to face the day with an open mind and just a willingness to roll up your sleeves. So it's been 30 years since I joined JP Morgan Chase as a wet behind the ear mergers and acquisitions analyst. I went on to have a pretty long career at the firm. Obviously, I'm still there. I spent many years in investment banking. I then moved over to private banking, where I spent 20 of the 30 years I've been at the firm. And over the past 5 years, I discovered this incredible thing, which is that you can work really hard and make a huge impact in communities and society. I had the privilege of overseeing the firm's $30 billion racial equity commitment, and now I am the proud global head of Global Diversity, Opportunity, and Inclusion. Change can mean different things to different people. For some people, change happens to them. Some people make change happen, and some people understand that change is a skill and an opportunity. And I think our firm, over the years, we've been in business 227 years of our country's 250 years of existence. We've really learned how to navigate through change. And the way we've done it is by anchoring in our core principles as our North Star. And one of the core principles of our firm is believing that opportunities are scarce where talent is evenly distributed. So our commitment to inclusion is just recognizing the reality that to get the best and the brightest talent into our organization, we need to cast a wide net and reach out to all communities and make sure that we have a culture of inclusion that can set everyone up for success. If you have the skills, if you have the work ethic, if you believe in what we're doing and you care about our clients, you have a home at JP Morgan Chase, and we will make sure that you're successful. And that's the work of diversity, opportunity, and inclusion. And that, of course, includes the military community. Our veteran employees and colleagues, they are a differentiated type of talent. It's not just the skill set, the technical skills, it's the character, it's the grit, it's the leadership. And as I look at these incredible 7 women, I'm excited to learn more about their stories. What comes across to me is this like self-possession, this groundedness and presence, and this just fearlessness to lead. And that is what I see over and over from our military employees and colleagues. And that is why we continue to lean in and support efforts like the work of Operation Homefront and other organizations that support veteran spouses, and active servicemen and women. So, the world is facing some very big problems. And we really need to show up differently to solve those problems. And we believe that when we fill the room, or we stack a conference room table with people with different points of view from different cultures, with different cognitive assets, we come up with better solutions, we make the room more intelligent, and we show up better for our clients and communities. So that is why we are unapologetic about our commitment to diversity in our workforce and a culture of inclusion that sets everyone up for success. To all the families and leaders and partners in the room, to all of you in the room who have served, thank you for your service, for your sacrifice, and your commitment to build a bright future for the next generation and to show up to protect the Constitution every day. Thank you.
So much, Carolina. I think these young folks have waited long enough, don't you guys? Yep. It is time for the main event. It is time to present the awards. Would you all please turn your attention to the screens?
After a while, a month or two, she just said, "Papa, when are you coming home?" And I said, "Well, I'm coming home soon, just really, really soon." And she goes, "Well, come home soon because I can't remember what you look like." And my heart dropped. After I got hit by a rocket propelled grenade in Afghanistan, they had this IV bag that had to be changed. And so I needed somebody to change that 4 times a day. One of Amani's things was I asked her if she could help me. And she said she was scared. And as soon as I told her, everything you're going to do is going to help me, that fear went away. When she knew that she was doing the right thing, she became fearless about it. We decided to travel. As soon as we started traveling, we started realizing how easily she connected with people. And moreover, how easily she picked up languages.
Yeah. I think that helps her connect with people. She puts people at ease, and that is a talent that not everybody has.
She was noticing that she was more privileged than a lot of other people. She decided to do something about it. And that's really what led her to the formation of Gala. She's a quiet doer. She never seeks recognition. She racks up 2,000 plus hours. She brings in all of these students from across the world, 26 countries, and she doesn't even tell people at the school. When I think of Amani, I always think about service above self. This is who she's been forever. Helping other people gives her a sense of purpose. She always asks us if we're proud of her. And we always tell her the same thing. We're incredibly proud of who you are.
We love you. We're proud of you. Always.
We're going to present the award to our Military Child of the Year recipient from the Army, Amani Ambe. To present the McCoy Army Award, please everyone welcome Brigadier General Marnay Sutton, Director of Network C4 Services and Integration.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight and allowing me to represent the Army to give this special award to such a special lady. I do want to point out, Admiral Reyes, that the Army went first. Can I get a hooah? Okay. So growing up in an Army family and raising 2 military kids of my own, I understand the challenges that come with being a military child. I'm so impressed with everything these young ladies have done tonight, and it's humbling to be in your presence today. The challenge I have tonight, to be honest, is I only get 2 minutes to talk about my awardee, and I need about 2 hours. A swimmer, a dancer, a linguist that speaks not 1, not 2, but 7 languages. A published poet, an outstanding student, and a member of the National Honor Society. She's a freshman at George Washington University, and she's also a member of the University Honors Program. And she was also named a U.S. Presidential Scholar. But what really sets Amani apart is her dedication to serving others. She founded the Gala Foundation, which links military kids to volunteers with educational opportunities worldwide. She's an author of Love, Life, Envy, A Journey Through Existence, which is a book of poems about exploring mental health and relationships, and all the proceeds go to kids. Amani credits her parents with inspiring her, not only her dad's service, but her mom as a role model. When her family's house burned down back in 2021, Amani stood in her pajamas and watched all of her possessions burn. But what it taught her was that the outpouring of love and support from the community was what she wanted to give back. Amani plans to continue her studies in international relations and law with aspirations to serve as a global advocate for humanitarian and social equality issues. Amani, you're not only an outstanding representative of your family, the Army family, but of our country and you're very deserving of winning this award. I'm humbled to be here tonight to represent the Army to present this to you. Please come forward. She's 4'10" and she's fierce.
Amani. Oh my goodness, yes, 4'10" and fierce. I mean, in spending time with you, all the accolades, the languages, all the accomplishments, what is very clear is that you have a special gift for connecting with others and your empathy. And you've had some really daunting life experiences, from your father's recovery to losing your home. What does this, as a representation of how you've come through that time, what does this mean to you?
Well, first, I know there are plenty of military children all over the country that are deserving of this award, and I am incredibly shocked and surprised to have received this.
What?
I feel very, very honored by Operation Homefront, and this moment is not only a testament to the things I've accomplished, but also to my father's deployment and everything that both my parents have instilled in me throughout my childhood. And all of the people I've met along the way through Yellow Foundation, through working with other professors and friends. It has been a journey, and I'm so grateful to be here.
You mentioned Yellow Foundation, which you created, which is a video platform that helps connect children, teens all across the globe. Can you explain a little bit more about why that was so important to you and what you're trying to accomplish?
Of course, thank you for that question. So originally, during my father's deployment, I was unable to feel a connection to my peers at my school that I was attending. I was one of the very few military children at that school. I actually believe I was the only military child in elementary school. And so I decided that instead of, feeling this isolation, I should reach out to other military kids across the country. And at this point, I started connecting my military friends that I had made in this global network, in this network with my friends from around the world. And eventually, we realized that we all have a shared goal of improving education and also maintaining lifelong friendships. So it essentially established Yellow Foundation as a global not-for-profit focusing on education by connecting military kids, civilian kids, and underprivileged kids around the world.
Wow. I also wanted to highlight something, because you told me in the room with your parents, we were talking about the story of your father Skyping at the time. Remember Skype? And that story that was shown in the video, the fact that you said when you were young, "Dad, I don't recognize you," or "I forgot what you look like." And your father pointed out, and I think you supported this, as did your mom, just how that spoke to the military community, what happened after that, because he said they got him in a helicopter to go somewhere where he could see you on video more often. Is that what you remember?
Yes, that's correct. Actually, they created a mission for my dad to fly to Kabul in order to gain access to a video platform to call me so I could see his face.
What does that mean? When you think about that, what does that say? And from your experience in this military life?
I think it shows the strength of those who were deployed, acknowledging that they are all going through similar struggles and being able to, again, show that empathy when the time calls for it.
Lastly, the house, we heard about that happened in 2021, is that right? Your family watched as your house burned down, and that prompted you to write your poetry. Can you share some of that and what has happened for you since?
Yes, so after we had a devastating house fire, I turned to poetry in order to kind of put the feelings onto paper instead of drowning in this hole of, everything that we had lost. And I realized that a lot of the emotions I were having could relate to other children, not just military, but also civilian children, kids, teens, and young adults who are feeling human emotion, basically. The book is called Love, Life, Envy, and it's 3 chapters, and each chapter explores the good and the ugly of all 3. In love, you can have passion, but also heartbreak. In life, you can have success, but failure. And in envy, you can have jealousy, but also use that as a way to motivate yourself to be a better person.
Wow. All right. Amani, congratulations. Is there anything you want to say to your family before you leave the stage?
I wanted to say thank you to my parents. I know it might be cliche, but I recalled a quote earlier today that my dad had told me about 5 years ago. He told me that the force behind you is far greater than the challenges that lie ahead of you. And this quote was said to him minutes before they crossed the wire into battle. And even though that was said to me when I was younger, that quote has stuck with me throughout my childhood. And even now, when I approach problems, my parents really taught me how to keep my chin up high and approach it with a strong heart.
Amani, congratulations and best of luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Brigadier General Sutton. We appreciate your words.
I was in the hospital with COVID. Her dad was homesick with a high fever, and she became the caretaker. But she was always full of energy. When people first meet Hannah, they always come back and say that they just love and appreciate that she's got a very happy, positive, contagious energy and personality. She has a fierce determination to succeed and accomplish and help. Last summer, when she got the American Red Cross internship, volunteer at the Naval Hospital, Camp Lejeune, she was doing so well, and everyone thought that she actually worked there. They thought she was a corpsman, they were in the Navy or a civilian medical provider. They had no idea she was 17 years old and just a volunteer. Sometimes, she gets so caught up in the moment of helping that she stops, takes a breath, and she sees the reaction of the other people that she's helping. She's just very awe-inspiring to me, and I thank the Lord for giving me Hannah as my daughter. A great, great gift.
Oh, sorry, this dress is problematic. It is time now for the Marine Corps Award for Hannah Kirksey. Presenting the Marine Corps Military Child of the Year Award is Major General Jason L. Morris, Assistant Deputy Commandant and Director, Operations Division. So good to see you.
What an honor it is to be here, and I just want to say up front, I think the Army not only went first, they tried to go second, because General Lenev's photo is on my bio. He's much better looking than me, but he's not a United States Marine. I just want to clear that up front. So good evening, everybody, service members, distinguished guests. It's my distinct privilege tonight to recognize the 2026 Military Child of the Year for the United States Marine Corps, Miss Hannah Kirksey. To understand her resilience, you first have to look at the legacy of service she was born into. Her father, William, retired as a Marine gunnery sergeant after 21 years of dedicated service to our nation. Over those 2 decades, he completed 16 deployments and spent more than 3 years away from home. For the family waiting on the home front, that level of sacrifice requires an extraordinary amount of endurance. As the youngest child, Hannah navigated the challenges of military life, including moving 6 times, with grace. She draws her strength from her Christian faith, a sharp sense of humor, and the steadfast love of her mother, Jacqueline. At the same time, she continues to be deeply inspired by her father's commitment, strength, and unwavering resilience. Winston Churchill once said, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." Hannah is already building a remarkable life through what she gives to others. She didn't just survive the challenges of military life, she chose to thrive, channeling her experiences into purposeful, compassionate leadership. As a senior at Dixon High School in Holly Ridge, North Carolina, she has excelled academically as well as physically while competing on both the swim and the cheer teams. More importantly, from her experience as a military child, she saw the need within her own community and took action. Recognizing how difficult transitioning between schools can be, she founded the Military Community Support and Service Club. Through this initiative, she has built a vital support network, providing a place of belonging, encouragement, and growth for fellow military children who needed a community to rely upon as they move back and forth across the country. And Hannah's compassion did not stop there. Looking to the future, she plans to carry her servant's heart into the medical field by becoming a physician's assistant. So she's a senior in high school. She graduates on the 10th of June, and she hasn't decided which college she's going to, but I'm sure any college that accepted her would be blessed to have her there. Hannah, your academic excellence, leadership, and commitment to lifting up those around you represent the very best of the Marine Corps family and our core values of honor, courage, and commitment. You have turned your personal sacrifices into a source of strength for others. So, ladies and gentlemen, in my less than 2 minutes of time, I have to introduce really the main show for the Marine Corps and recognize her on behalf of General Smith and our some 220,000 active and reserve Marines around the world. I want to introduce to you our Marine Corps Military Child of the Year, Miss Hannah Kirksley.
Hannah. Also, her parents have an incredible love story. If you have time, you should ask them. No? I just like how they met.
Met on a singles Marine retreat. Hoorah!
Yeah. But no, since we're talking about your parents, I think that this is so fitting because you told me, this is fitting that your father said, be a light, right? And it is so clear that what you do is that you have a tremendous gift for helping others be seen and supported. How much do you think comes from your journey as a military child and also some of the challenges that you face?
Yes, ma'am. I think honestly, all of it. All of it comes from being a military child. I feel like I would never have the characteristics or even the personality to do the things that I've done and to be in your words, the light that I have tried my best to be. And that stems from being a military child. Through that experience, it taught me to push past heartache and to keep going, to not let whatever I was going through, whatever hardships, being away from my father and even the effects of the war, him coming back, not letting that define me or my family, to keep going and to find the small glimmers of light and to just hold on to that and not let the situation around you continue or to bring you down in a sense, I guess. And I feel like I've really brought that into my life quite heavily with everything that I've tried to be involved in. I think it's also taught me to be an incredibly empathetic person. I like to think I'm very good at understanding how another person might feel in any kind of situation. I think I'm very good at putting myself into other people's shoes and thinking about any possible reason of why they might have done or said something. And I think that also stems from being a military child. My father, as the general recently mentioned, fought in multiple wars, including Afghanistan and Iraq. And at a very early age, I had to learn to how to be a caretaker, and basically go through sensitivity training in my own kind of way to provide care and to be the empathetic person for him. And so at the ripe old age of just 7 years old, I had to try to understand what my father went through overseas and to try to be empathetic towards that. And I think that's really grown who I am.
Can you take us through that journey?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't have to call me ma'am, but I appreciate it.
So I was born in North Carolina. We stayed there for around 4 years until we got orders to California, so a nice cross-country move. Anyone that's done that knows how fun that is. And then we stayed there for 4 years. Between that time, my father was back and forth on workups, MEWS, constant deployments. Honestly, I look back at pictures at the battleships, and still to this day, I feel this sense of sadness inside of me whenever I see a battleship, because I know that's, as a child, when I saw one, that's what took my father away from me. And I feel like that was just the tie to that. So even to this day, seeing it, it still kind of stirs some emotions inside of me. And then so from California, we got orders over to South Carolina, and we stayed there for 4 years until we retired out in North Carolina again.
And you talked about friendship, which, by the way, I think that you are a master friend. That's what we can learn from this. But having to leave friends, and then in one instance being reunited unexpectedly with a friend.
Yes, ma'am. So recently in one of...
I'm sorry. It's okay. It's fine.
And recently, one of the interviews that I think it was Operation Homefront's interviewer mentioned or quoted the goodbye drive. So California, for me, leaving that one was honestly one of the hardest moves I think I ever had to make. That was when I was I want to say 7 or 8 years old, and that was when I was fully aware of the friendships that I had made and the bonds that I had created and connected. So where the goodbye drive comes from is the day that we left California, we tried our best to drive around all of Camp Pendleton and to say goodbye to the friends I didn't have the opportunity to see during the school day. The friendship in particular that's focusing on was my childhood best friend, Coralie Campos. We were standing on the driveway together, and my parents basically had to rip us apart. And then I still remember staring out the car window as we were driving away and crying all the way till we got off the base. Luckily enough, though, we had the opportunity to be reunited, I think it was 2 years later in South Carolina, which was truly such an amazing experience, and I know how blessed and how lucky I am to have that experience, to be able to live with her for another 3 years of my life, then to unfortunately be separated due to her father getting orders to Arizona and us retiring out in North Carolina. But that was truly one of the hardest things, I feel like, is just getting up and leaving all of your friends, all of your family, for a cause that you don't really fully understand at such a young age. I feel like that was just, in itself, extremely difficult, and I still find struggles thinking about it. A recent thing that kind of dawned on me, too, especially recently as I'm now in public school, is I listen to the students around me talk about how they've known so-and-so since first grade or second grade and the relationship that they have, but the unfortunate part is I can't even count on my fingers. I can't count on my fingers any of my childhood friends. Unfortunately, I'm not in contact with any of them, just due to the digital age just now recently becoming so advanced, but unfortunately back then it wasn't. And unfortunately, that childhood best friend I did mention, as time goes on, we also became distant. And I feel like that's been something that's really dawning on me as a senior, how important those relationships and those connections are, especially as I'm walking across the graduation stage. It's kind of sad to know that I don't have the same connection that the rest of those seniors at my high school might have with everyone else.
But you are making so many connections with other people that you are helping as well as you carry on those friendships. How do you hope to be able to make a difference in medicine?
Yes, that's definitely a big one, and I implore that too, being a military child, is to have that ability to be empathetic, and especially adaptability. I think that's such a key word for medicine. I'm looking at the surgical aspect of that. I'm differing between surgical physician assistant and full surgeon. And I feel like being able to quickly think on your feet and make whatever you have work is such a key trait in medicine it's vital for any kind of patient care. And I think that's only something I could have gotten at being a military child, is using the resources that I had, using the opportunities that I had, and making it work. Actually, at my internship last summer, a great example of this at the Naval Hospital was in the ED. There was a patient that was suffering from a shoulder dislocation, and they made it work by taking 4 IV bags, wrapping a tourniquet around it, putting that on the guy's wrist, and you could watch the shoulder go back in place. But the typical way you're supposed to do that is by using a weight and all this, that, and the other. But I think that really describes the military, and I really think that describes military medicine specifically, being able to think on their feet like that, making get the problem solved, and it was amazing.
That's like The Pit, you know? It's like one of those shows. Hannah, congratulations. Before you leave this stage, is there anything you wanted to say to your parents or your family?
Thank you. Genuinely, thank you. All the love in my heart, from the countless hours of driving me to all of the places I needed to be, whether that was cheer comps, HOSA, being there like the last minute of, oh, I need this for a club, or, oh, do you have like any materials? Can you come help me with this? The late nights, honestly, that's what got me the most, is just like the never-ending support, especially from my mom, always being there to have a shoulder to cry on, always being that rock, that firm foundation. And then my father, he has worked so hard these last couple of years coming out of the service. I genuinely just have so much love and admiration. I think it's a very rare thing to be able to do what he's done and to make it out of it, and not to be a statistic, but to be still here and be still present in my life. And I'm genuinely thankful to my mom and dad.
We're thankful to you. We can't wait to see the wonderful things that you do. Congratulations. Hannah Kirksey, everybody. And thank you, Major General Morris, even though you did go over 2 minutes. That's okay. All good. Thank you so much. Congratulations. That's fine.
When people first meet Ayla, I think what stands out the most is that she's just so genuinely warm and engaging, and her face kind of lights up with an eagerness to get to know them.
She wants people to feel noticed, understood, and seen and heard.
So military kids go through so much, deployments, and when communication isn't happening with a parent who's deployed, constant moves, high-stress jobs. Ayla just seemed to be able to understand it from her early age. So every time we moved, she would look for those who were either new students or students who were struggling, just anyone who was kind of different. She felt different, and she could relate to them and had a lot of compassion for what they were going through.
She really turned that instability that we had kind of into adaptability.
She wakes up every morning wanting to make the world a better place for everyone. She doesn't give up. She does it with authenticity. She does it with love for everyone, love for life. And the world is a better place because of Ayla.
And now it's time for the Navy Award for Ayla Zook. Presenting the Navy Military Child of the Year Award is Admiral Daryl Cottle, Chief of Naval Operations.
Well, good evening, everyone. You know, it's typical in the Pentagon that the Marines always take just a little more, you know. Just always got a little more, you know, that they just always push the edge to get that extra little bit. So I'm gonna try to keep it to a real 2 minutes and not a Marine Corps 2 minutes. When I agreed to come tonight, I had no idea what I was getting into, but what I can say is, the guys out there that are the nominees need to step it up. I mean, it's pitiful, really, but good evening, everyone, seriously, and thank you to Operation Homefront for bringing us together this evening to recognize the strength and promise of our military children. It's an honor to recognize the Navy's 2026 Military Child of the Year, Ayla Zook. Ayla's story reflects something we know well across our Navy families, that service belongs to the entire family. Over 5 PCS moves and 9 schools, she didn't just adapt, she grew. She turned uncertainty into opportunity and developed a deep empathy for others, working to help them feel welcomed and grounded. That's leadership, that's character, that's excellence. She also found her anchors, whether in the kitchen with her father, and I found that at the table, that's making French toast. Whether it was in that kitchen or after deployment or exploring museums across the country, those experiences didn't just sustain her, they inspired her. Today, she's studying physics and linguistics. Yes, physics and linguistics. It's quite a combination at Dartmouth with a focus on advancing research at the intersection of science and human understanding. That path matters. Our Navy and our nation depend on strong talent in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And we need more young adults leading in those fields. Their perspectives and innovation are critical to solving the immense challenges ahead as we face an uncertain and rapidly changing world. Ayla represents that future. She's resilient, curious, and ready to lead. So Ayla, on behalf of the United States Navy, it is my privilege and distinct honor to recognize you as our 2026 Military Child of the Year. We're incredibly proud of you. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating Ayla Zook.
Congratulations, Ayla. I loved reading about you and seeing how you had mentioned the narrative of kitchens and museums became something that was a comfort space through your journey as a military child. Can you explain that?
Absolutely. I think one of the things of being a military child is that you never necessarily have a single sense of place. You're constantly moving around the nation, sometimes even the world, and having a sense of a home that you can go back to at the end of the day and a community that you can feel safe in, it's sometimes very hard to find. And I found that as a child, one of the places that I always felt very safe and comfortable was just in my kitchen, and even at museums as well. No matter where I was, whenever my dad would come home from deployments, and even on weekends, I always looked forward to the kitchen mornings, making breakfast together, like French toast, or just kind of any type of creative excursion that we had in there. It was just always something that helped ground me and helped me feel this sense that I am going to be okay and that I'm going to have something I can look forward to, and I know that my dad is going to be able to come back here and I could spend time with him.
Is that because that was a place that the two of you would bond?
Absolutely, yeah. We shared so many memories, just kind of experimenting in the kitchen, trying out different ingredients and combinations, and later learning his family recipes and kind of exploring those. It has been such a great opportunity.
How good is the French toast?
I love it. Yes.
You might have to share, but the museum part, explain that a little bit too.
Yes. Another thing about being a military child is that you have to move schools a lot. And a lot of the time, that unfortunately means you sometimes have to skip classes and miss different units. And a lot of the time, that leads to inconsistencies in a student's academic journey. And for me, I found that especially difficult whenever I was moving from California to San Diego. I mean, the schools in California, Virginia are very different. And sometimes it was hard to kind of catch up in school and feel like I was on the same track as other students. But whenever I could go to museums, I always was able to know that there's this body of knowledge always accessible to me that I can go back to and share. And it was almost like another home as well. Yes.
I loved how you talked also about the cultures, the different cultures that you've been exposed to through all of the moves. And you started a water advocacy program, right, in California. Is that correct?
In Virginia, but
like I said, Virginia.
Yes, absolutely.
But no, this is so amazing what you did and the work that you're continuing to do.
Yes, of course. I think I learned so much from moving across the nation. I was able to recognize a lot of different challenges that my communities faced. In California, I remember growing up, we couldn't always water our plants outside, and we had to be very conservative with the water because of a lot of droughts that were going on. But whenever I moved to Springfield, Virginia, we didn't really have that same issue, but I remember we had to sometimes just buy water jugs from the grocery store because the tap water wasn't the safest. And it was just such a difference for me in seeing how water could be a completely different challenge for people across the nation. That going into high school, I saw how some of my friends were actually being dehydrated a lot of the time. Several of them even fainted during class and during PE practice. And that only continued to ignite in me this sense that this is a pressing issue. So I worked with my first local school board, and we passed a wellness policy to help increase water fountains and water access at schools. And I worked with an organization called Y Street in Virginia. I was able to help train other youth leaders in kind of this type of advocacy and get them interested. And I was able to finish off my senior year by being the state president and overall helping over 300,000 Virginia students, I believe, with this water policy.
Yes, how amazing is that? I know. Before I let you go, you also shared an endearing story about your parents and your dad, and how when your dad was serving and you were a child, he took your stuffy and you didn't know it. Can you share that story?
Yes, that was one of my favorites. Oh my gosh. I remember growing up, I had this stuffed animal that I named Puppy. It was just a beautiful dog, and I'm obsessed with dogs. I have 4 of my own right now, and I slept with it every night. And my dad knew how much I loved the stuffed animal that he was able to find a duplicate. So whenever he went on deployments, he took it with him without me knowing that he got a duplicate or the same stuffed animal.
I thought he took the same one.
No. Yeah, he had a second. It was incredible. And he brought it with him. And whenever I was missing him, he would do video calls and record videos having my dog, the stuffed animal that I believed swam across the ocean every single night to go hang out with him. And he would just tell me all these incredible stories. And it was such a beautiful way to stay connected with him and to know that he was always there and that he was safe.
I love that. Would you ever have thought that you would be standing here as a recipient of this award, and what does it mean to you?
This is still honestly mind-blowing that I'm here. I'm so grateful and so honored that I can represent military children and their experiences. It's just so amazing. And honestly, this award to me, I feel like it's a recognition of all of the service that military children have to face and that they do every single day. The struggles, the strife, and even the joys too. I just feel like it shows how hard military children have to work and how they have to grow up very, very quickly at a young age, helping their siblings, understanding these kind of large world issues, and their parents going away. But overall, it just shows me, especially with seeing the other award recipients, just how capable children and military children can be amongst this change.
Congratulations, Ayla. Is there anything you want to say to your parents before you leave the stage?
Just thank you so much. You guys are truly my biggest inspiration always. I'm so proud of you.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Well done, Ayla. And thank you, Admiral Caudle.
She sparkles. When you meet Elizabeth, you know you've met someone special, and she has been that way her entire life. But people most often comment on her poise, her grace, her eloquence, and she just has that uncanny ability to make you feel like you're so important when you're talking to her, and it's really a special gift. Elizabeth knows and understands well that it is so important to care about something other than yourself. And growing up in a culture of service by being a military family, she's just embraced a commitment to excellence and to understanding that there's a job to do for all of us. Elizabeth was captain of her varsity equestrian team for 2 years, and I got to watch her, really blossom in that role. But what drew people to Elizabeth more is when she could talk to her teammates openly and honestly. She had this really uncanny ability to take the pressure off for people. The first thing out of Elizabeth's mouth is, what can I do and how can I help? As a leader, I think her greatest strength is her ability to empathize with others. She's someone who really has her priorities straight, especially in this day and age. She cares about people first and foremost, and she knows what's most important in life, and I think her military life has taught her that.
And now it's time for the Air Force Award for Elizabeth Stanton. To present the Military Child of the Year Air Force Award, please welcome Vice Chief of the Air Force, General John D. LaMontagne.
What an honor to be here tonight to celebrate Elizabeth Stanton. She is blessed with an amazing family. Her father, Joshua, Air Force veteran, deployed 7 times. Right? She's a resilient young woman. Her mom, Sherry, is here, and her brother, Ben, is here, younger brother. He's talented in his own right as well. And so Elizabeth is persistent. She's resilient. She's incredibly talented. Persistent. She was a semifinalist here 2 years ago, the finalist last year, and a winner tonight. So. She's strong. She's a varsity cross-country runner, 3 years running, track as well. As a matter of fact, she's got regionals on Saturday, running the 1600 and 3200. Captain of the equestrian team, yeah. Captain of the equestrian team, multi-time, best delegate in Model UN, Model United Nations. She is also a board of directors for Hopeful Harvest, a local food bank. She's on the board of directors. I mean, she is 550 hours of community service, graduated high school in just 3 years, and has got a big-time scholarship to Washington and Lee University. It is my honor and privilege to recognize Miss Elizabeth Stanton as the 2026 Military Child of the Year.
You got regionals this weekend? I mean, man.
I do. I am probably getting back at like 9 or 10 p.m. that night and getting up and get on the bus at 5:30 the next morning. But it's just on to the next, and then Virginia on Saturday for Invented Students Day. So it never stops. But I love it.
Congratulations. What does this mean to you? What does it represent?
I am just so in awe that I'm standing on the stage right now and in front of you and holding this very surprisingly heavy award and just being able to serve as representation for the Air Force and for military children. And we go through such different things, but there are definitely some overlaps with the moves and your parents being gone, and just being able to share my story and hoping that people out there, military families and children, can connect with it and see themselves in it.
What along the course of your journey makes you most proud when you look back?
I think what makes me the most proud is, resilience. I think you hear it a lot with military children and military families, but even in the times when it has just been so difficult for our family and difficult having a parent gone all the time, I have just continued to push myself and get involved in everything I can and just focus on the future and make sure that I am, carving out a future for myself and what I want to go and do, and just making those goals and plans and staying committed to them, always looking ahead for what I can do next.
What would you say is one of the goals that you can share with us?
So currently I am going to Washington Lee University next year, and I hope to probably study political science or pre-law. And one of my goals is, honestly, just the larger goal I'm working towards is entering into a career that helps people and makes a difference in the world. All I really want to do is improve communities, improve the lives of others, and make positive change to make life better for everyone.
What are the lessons that you learned sitting with your family earlier? It was also really special to see your brother who came to talk about the bond that the two of you had. And I feel like you can really speak to support and the lessons that you have learned from the family togetherness that you have coped with while your father was away.
Absolutely. I think something that I say over and over again is, the independence that I have gained and that I know all military children have gained just through their experiences. But being a military child also teaches you how to lean on others and look for support in a very unique way, and creating a community and being support for others and just finding a way to always connect with others and provide help when others need it, and then know that you can rely on them to give that same thing back to you.
Because you were also saying that it is challenging also when a parent comes back, correct?
Yes, it's very interesting. I think we don't think about that a lot, but my dad was gone for so much of my childhood, and it was like my mom was a single mom with just herself, myself, my older sister, and my younger brother. And then coming back and then adjusting to that life of having my dad and learning to connect with him as an older person, not being so young anymore, and having him missed so much of my life and so many of my milestones, learning how to connect again and how to, change the family dynamic. It had just been the four of us for so long, and then just adapting like military children do.
And what did you learn from that? What could you say too to help other military children that are going through that?
Going through that specifically, I would just say be open-minded and just try your best to connect with others, give people the benefit of the doubt. And it's so important to turn your military background into a strength. And there's so many negative aspects of it. But here tonight as military children, we're not hiding that part of our identity. It's being celebrated, and the sacrifices that we make are being recognized. So allowing yourself to acknowledge that sacrifice and acknowledge the turmoil that we've been through, and then pushing past that and pushing yourself into something greater and larger than yourself.
And lastly, I was just in awe speaking with you and your family, because it was obvious the love in that room and how supportive you all are of each other. Your brother, can you tell me what your brother and your sister mean to you?
Oh my gosh, just the world. I think, my older sister, when my dad was gone, it was kind of like she was the second mom, even when unwanted at times, as older sisters are. But she was just a role model for me, honestly, and showing me what I can do and how I can be better. And she was always really great about pushing me to develop into my own person and always making me feel like I could just be whoever I wanted. And my younger brother, we're a little bit closer in age, and gosh, he's just been like my best pal all my life, like built-in best friend, even when we fight. And I'm just so proud of him, and he just pushes me and encourages me to be a leader every day and to be the best person I can for him. And I'm just so happy that I'm able to be in his life and watch him grow up and all the amazing things that he's accomplishing.
Congratulations, Elizabeth. Anything else you want to say?
Yes, don't let me get too long-winded with this, but I just want to say just thank you. Thank you so much to everyone who's here tonight, everyone who's working behind the scenes, and gosh, I just feel so grateful to my family for being here, and my siblings and my mom especially. Just being that only parent and just stretching herself so thin and giving up so much just so we could, like my siblings and I could have the success and the life we have. And I think I'm only able to be up here and, have the successes that were talked about because of the sacrifices my mom made and how she just always kept it together. Every car ride, every event that she needed to be, she was there, she was driving me and taking me. And I just don't think I can ever express how grateful I am.
I think you just did. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was amazing, Elizabeth. Thank you, General Lamatanya.
When she has a goal and she has something she wants to accomplish, regardless of the size or complexity, she is just laser focused on succeeding in whatever that goal is.
When Taylor's dad moved to Europe for 2 years, she quickly realized, as her siblings did, that they all had a role to play in the family and they had to do things to contribute and to keep the household running. That's what I think truly embodies what she is all about. She's driven to make a difference.
Taylor's always been interested in medical care. At the end of her certified nursing assistant license, she went to an assisted living facility. And while much of it was kind of standard nursing practices, what really amazed me when she came home and talked to us was she really stressed the people she met. Yeah, I helped feed this woman, and she just really wanted to tell me about her family. I appreciate that she not only saw the value in the medical things that she was doing, but the relationship things. Having someone like her who is not only willing to help, but willing to listen and show compassion and take the time to just understand their story and hear them. And not because she felt it was her job, but because she truly wanted to.
It's your commitment, it's your dedication, and it's how hard you're working every day to achieve those things.
I would just tell her how extremely proud we are of her, but so excited for what's next. Just so proud of the kid she is and the woman she's becoming.
And now it's time for Space Force Award for Taylor Schreiner. Presenting the Military Child of the Year Award for Space Force is Lieutenant General Douglas A. Schess, Deputy Chief of Space Operations.
Hey, good evening. Thanks to Operation Homefront for us being here. CNO, we'll make sure we're time on target, so we'll make sure on that. Hey, tonight's all about Taylor Schreiner, and I just want to say thanks to her family, who is a family of service also. Her dad is our Space Force's Northern Commander, and her mom is a retired civilian and Air Force and Space Force civilian. So they've got a family of service, and so when you read through what Taylor said in her essay, and we were talking to some of the folks here tonight that read some of those and how hard it was, she talked about that time when her dad had to go to Europe for a couple of years, and Bob, she did say you cried, so it's out in the public now. But Taylor talked about the time where she was in the laundry room and just not quite knowing what was going to happen, and she knew that her family was going to be okay, but she also knew that she had to take things on. So she's experienced 10 PCS moves with her dad moving or deployments, but she is very resilient. She's learned determination, and she's adaptability at a young age. She's incredible. Academics, she's in the Talented and Gifted program. I didn't know that you could be dual enrolled in International Baccalaureate and Advanced Placement, but she is. She's got sports, soccer, track, and field. As a matter of fact, she missed 2 soccer games this week. She's not too happy about that. But she's got one more practice and one more game, and she said she's going to kill it in that game. National Honor Society member, and she's in the she's the president of the Health Occupations Students of America. She's a National Honor Society officer, varsity soccer team, a B elite club team. We talked about whether she's going to play soccer in college. She's at least going to be on the club team. And as you saw in the video, she's a Colorado Springs Children's Hospital volunteer and a certified nursing assistant in the state of Colorado at the age of 17. And you saw how she wants to work with people. As a matter of fact, she says that her goal is to be the change that needs to be made in our healthcare system. So she's going to head off to the University of Wisconsin in Madison and be, we've talked about what exactly, but she's looking at pediatric oncology. And so she's an incredible woman, and being the father of 2 daughters, just like the CNO said, I think the guys need to step it up a little bit, but that's because we have 7 outstanding females right over here. I do got to say that her sister was the Military Child of the Year for the Space Force in 2023. I heard her brother's probably not watching because he's watching a basketball or a hockey game tonight. But Nate, you got a lot to, I don't know, man. So, but congratulations to Taylor, and thank you on behalf of the Chief of Space Operations, General Chance Saltzman, and the women and men of the Space Force. We're so happy to have you as our winner, so thank you.
Taylor, congratulations. What were your brother and sister's reaction to you getting this award?
Oh, that's actually quite funny. I'm so very grateful for this award. Genuinely, words, I can't express it. But I'm not a very expressive person. So let's just say we had that cute little video where my mom told me I got this award, and I'm sitting there in utter awe, just like, are you serious? And I've got my sister on the phone jumping up and down, literally screaming her head off. So she is so supportive of me, and just, my sister is definitely my rock. And I mean, she's my twin, even if we're 18 months apart. But with that in mind, she was proud for me, and that's just something I'm so grateful to have in my life. And you heard a bit about my brother. He was happy, I think. I mean, I don't know. He mentioned it on the way to school, and he doesn't typically speak to me on the way to school. That's our quiet time, so that meant something. That was sweet.
My daughter might relate to that. No, that's amazing, and congratulations. What is it that means the most to you about earning this award?
This award is, I think we all here can understand that it's just so much more than, just an award and just a title. I have watched and listened to all the, Military Child of the Year recipients that have come before me, and it's just really fueled my passion to, strive for what I believe in and what I want to attain. I think that it's so essential to have that reminder that you face these hardships at a young age, and you're kind of forced to, that buzzword, adapt and overcome. But at the same time, you're just such a strong individual because of the fact, and you can do anything you set your mind to.
What was your experience? We saw in the video about your father leaving and going to England, and that being a time that it was a different type of challenge that you guys had dealt with at that point. What was that like for you?
So before that, my dad had deployed to Iraq. He was in Iraq when my brother was born, and that was definitely, I know that was hard on my mom, but I didn't remember it. I was 1, I hadn't really grasped what was happening. With that in mind, the England move was definitely new terrain for me. It was definitely the first time where I had to come to the realization that we do have a unique way of living. As grateful and appreciative as I am for it, it's hard to deal with. I mean, there was a lot of conflicting feelings. I think when you're so young, you're, it's hard to empathize with what's happening. It's hard to completely walk through this situation without feeling some, some grief. I don't want to say grief, but it's almost like there's so many milestones when you're so young. My brother was 4, I was 6, and my older sister was 8. And you're achieving all these milestones, and your dad has to watch them through a camera. So it's definitely hard to balance that and kind of navigate that at such a young age. But I really, truly believe that I wouldn't be the woman I am today without that, and that has really shaped me for the better. So I'm appreciative for all of it.
What lessons did you learn from that, and also from watching your mom in that moment?
My mom, she taught me everything I know, let's be honest. She's definitely like, you know, a motherly manager for me. It's very nice. But she helps me out in every single...
She's a momager.
A momager, that's perfect. No, she helps me out with every single thing I need help with. I mean, she's nurturing, she's motherly, but she's also willing to push me when I need that extra push. I always really struggle with finding it within myself to, you know, try things that are new and foreign, and she's always right there holding my hand. I think it's really interesting. This week has really shown me I've been able to kind of talk with my parents a bit more about their perspective on things and less so on mine. And it's really interesting to hear that, you know, this was really, really challenging on my mom. I mean, I always knew that it was challenging growing up without my dad in the household from the perspective of my siblings and I, but my mom definitely, I mean, she taught us that we're resilient and we can overcome anything that is thrown our way, and that we're gonna be a stronger individual because of the fact.
Also, you became a certified nursing assistant at the age of 17. Can you share what it was to led you to want to do that, and what your hopes are with that career possibility?
So becoming a certified nurse assistant, it was definitely something that up until a few years ago, I really didn't even know was feasible for a teenager to do. I thought for sure if it had the word nurse in it, you had to be at least 18. But thankfully, I was incorrect. So I learned about this through my peers, and I did a few internships at senior homes, a lot of shadowing opportunities where I was able to see really how underserved that population is. I think it kind of flies under the radar, and a lot of people aren't really eager to begin their work in that population. And with that in mind, I definitely took that, and I ran with it. I love it. I did all my clinical hours and just continued to fall in love with it. The stories that these people have to tell, like, they could chat your ear off for hours and hours, and I will sit there gladly. It's great work. I mean, I'll come home with stories and tell my parents, and they always seem a little apprehensive about the things that CNAs have to do, but I embrace it wholeheartedly. I mean, I think if I'm helping, and just like watching my dad growing up, watching him serve for our country, I just want to serve in any way I can, and I'm happy to do that as a CNA.
That's awesome. Is there anything that you want to say to your family before you leave the stage?
Thank you for literally everything. I mean, my biggest dream in life is to become half the person that you guys are, and I'm just very grateful to have you guys alongside on my whole life journey. So thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. And thank you, General Shess.
Tori had to learn to stay calm pretty early in life. When she was older, as a teenager, it was already second nature for her to be independent and take care of business when much of her peers were still trying to figure it out. She never let them turn into negatives. She found a positive outlook on moving, new locations, new friends, new teams. So service is just kind of a part of her. I don't think she knows anything else.
Victoria got involved with the Best Day Foundation, which takes people with special needs surfing for the day at the beach and having a good time. Her maturity and her ability just to bring smiles to faces and just joy to people, not just the participants, but the family members as well that bring their children or loved ones to the beach to enjoy this experience that they normally wouldn't get a chance to do. Once she started to think about her future and where she wanted to go, she had a plan, different options, different doors to go through. And, if one shut, it didn't matter because there was another one right there that was open.
She's strong, she's steady, she's ready for an adventure. She's ready to climb that mountain and go to the top. Doesn't matter what it is. I always tell her how proud I am of her.
Yep, love you, baby. Proud of you.
It's time, finally, for the Coast Guard Award. I'm kidding. For Victoria Vanacore, presenting the Coast Guard Award for Military Child of the Year is the Vice Commandant Thomas Allen Jr.
All right, good evening. So as usual, the Marines took all the time. Even though Space Corps came on time, they said, hey, Coast Guard, you're getting cut by 20%. So we decided we will bring it in on mission and on time. So I am honored to be here tonight and say thank you first to Operation Homefront. You guys do so much for us. Thank you very much. It makes a big difference. But it's truly special to be a privilege here to honor Victoria Vanacore. Victoria, as you heard in that video, is she's had a lot of service with us, and I'll just say it starts with her parents. Her dad was a chief that served 21 years. He was on boats. He was on ships all over the world. He did a lot. His mom, Jamie, she was a rescue swimmer, jumping out of helos to rescue people in the deep sea in cold and dark weather. So Tori, from a young age, knew what service was and what it was doing. So did her brother Dominic. Dominic cannot be here tonight. Dominic is just starting his Coast Guard career and getting ready to become a rescue swimmer as well. So we got a family of service. And when you're in a family of service, that's great, isn't it? It feels good to talk about that. But Tori really did a lot of PCS moves. She moved from school to school, had to remake friends, had to do things. Her parents, because they were both into service, they were deployed for over 60 months of her year. So about every other, once in 5 days, there wasn't her parents in the room, right? She was without one of them. She adapted through this by being an athlete. So she is a varsity athlete in both soccer and wrestling. She also loves basketball, volleyball, track, and tennis. And she said that even though she's in heels and a dress, she'll run anyone out tonight. So if you guys are... She's maintained top grades with a dual enrollment in college. She's really killing it there. We were talking about she's getting ready for all her AP tests, and she's going to do that. And she learned she was the Iron Woman at the FBI Youth Leadership Academy. She not only beat all the other kids in her test scores, she beat the instructors too. So. Now, I got to tell you, the only thing that she probably has as a fault is Tori dreams of becoming a pilot, but instead of a Coast Guard helicopter pilot, she wants to become a fighter pilot. And she's got her sights on doing that. And this is the hardest part of the night for me. While I love Tori, she's just been accepted and will be attending the U.S. Air Force Academy. That's all right. So Tori, no matter where you launch your career from, you'll always have your Coast Guard family. And I absolutely have no doubt that you are going to do great things. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the 2026 Coast Guard Military Child of the Year, Tori Vanacore.
Congratulations! Did you really beat the instructors at the?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I did.
Were they so mad?
It was really funny because I was in the middle of doing my push-ups, and I heard she was timing me above me, and she was like, "Oh my God, she's about to beat my record." And I was like, "All right, I really got to go now." So it was
You're so motivated. I love it. What does this award mean to you, Tori?
It is pretty surreal and amazing to be up here right now because a lot of people, mainly at your school, they don't really know what you go through as a military child. I'm not sure who said it earlier, but like you could be at your at your school sitting at the lunch table with all your friends, and they're like, do you remember this in elementary school? And you just gotta sit there and smile because like you're not in touch with them anymore.
I'd not thought about that until I had the opportunity to speak to you, and some of you mentioned that today. What is that like?
Honestly, it's a little sad, but going to new places and meeting new people is pretty great because in New Jersey, I met these amazing friends that I actually just went on vacation with recently. It's pretty great because I haven't seen them in a while, but having those connections will last a lifetime.
It was really cool getting to meet you, your family, your parents also, and it was obvious to see just maybe what you had learned along the way from them. Can you share the story about the triangle on the fridge? Because they're extremely athletic people, as you are as well, and I love that.
So growing up in my Florida house, on our fridge, we had it's a whiteboard, and on it was a pyramid. It's like a workout circuit pyramid. And it's like 3 levels. It's like push-ups, pull-ups, and squats, sorry. And it's 1 pull-up, 2 push-ups, 3 squats. I know that doesn't sound very impressive, but I was young. And
like how young?
6. What? And then it goes in 5 rounds. So it ends in 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 squats. And at the end of all that, me and my brother, we got a little chip that we get to stick on like a chart, and at the end of the week, if we had enough chips, we get to go to like Dairy Queen or something like that.
That is amazing. I know you're gonna hate this, but your dad, he describes you as a chameleon.
Yep. He sure does.
And I think that's such a compliment, right? I mean, everyone has said adaptable, right?
Yes.
But what does that mean to you? And why do you get so annoyed?
I don't know. I think it's a really funny term, and I only don't like it because he's saying it. And he's just been pushing me to say, he's like, you gotta say this, you gotta say this. I'm like, I'm really not saying that. But he's found a way to make me say it on stage right now, so here we are. I mean, it's a good term. He uses it saying, yeah, she's very adaptable. She gets like fit in everywhere she goes, like the new school, new sports team. It is a good way to describe yourself, being able to fit in and adapt to anywhere you go, changing colors like a chameleon. Yes.
Can you tell me about where the spark for you developed to become a fighter pilot?
I was at the FBI Academy that we talked about earlier, and it was just like a police pursuit chase with an overhead helicopter.
And can you describe, real quick, just the FBI Academy?
Oh gosh, okay. It was like a week-long event academy program thing, and when I was going, I didn't think it was going to be like boot camp. Because I was like, no way, I'm 16 years old, it's not going to be like boot camp. Went there, I saw the schedule, we had to wake up at 5:30. The next day they decided, that's not early enough. So we were up at 4:30, worked out 5 to 6, then ate breakfast, then we're in class, and it was a great week. They did a ton of demos, like it was like the bomb squad was there, they did a demo with their little robot that they brought out, disabled a bomb, and I thought that was really cool. And one of the days they did a police chase with a runaway car, and a helicopter was overhead. And now I don't want to fly helicopters, I'm sorry. But I really sparked something, because when I was little,
Are they too slow?
Yeah. I want to go fast in the plane. And when I was younger, I've always wanted to be a hurricane hunter. I don't know why, maybe because my mom always went to hurricanes when they were there in Florida. But that just kind of dismissed away when I got older. And at the academy, it kind of shot back a new memory, and I was like, wow, I really want to fly. And the rest is history from there.
That's amazing. At what point did you realize maybe just how significant and cool it was what your parents did?
I thought it's pretty cool. My mom got to jump out of helicopters, and we actually talked about it earlier, but during her training days, she used to rescue SpongeBob, and me and my brother thought it was really cool. She would have these videos. It wasn't actually SpongeBob. It was
What do you mean?
She had a big, square training dummy that they'd throw in the water, and she had to go save, and she, I think, filmed one time, and me and my brother got to watch it, and it was really cool. And I'm not sure what my dad usually did on the boats. He used to, in the nicest way, he used to, send videos of, dolphins over the seas.
No, sorry. Keep going.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said no.
No, I didn't mean no. I meant I was laughing like that. Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Yes, he used to send a ton of videos, and he'd talk about all these people. I heard him talking about earlier, the captain would chart a route to go catch better fish. I was like, huh, that seems really fun. And I just thought it's really amazing because they spent a lot of their time doing this, and knowing that they wasn't all bad was pretty great.
It's very cool. You also, I know that you aren't thrilled about public speaking, but you're very funny. Like, you could also have a career in this.
I'm trying. I'm trying real hard.
Is there anything that you want to say to your family before you leave the stage?
I mean, I know everyone else said it tonight, but thank you for everything you did. I know I wouldn't be able to be here without you, and I really appreciate it.
Also, your brother is going to South Carolina, right?
He's in South Carolina right now. He's going to Georgia soon to train to be a rescue swimmer.
He's in Charleston. Isn't that cool, Mom, Dad? Anyway, congrats. That's where my brother is. So yeah, we're sisters. That's awesome. All right, congratulations, Tori. I'm so proud of you. Thank you, Victoria. We're also proud of all of our winners. I love that. Hey, dolphins, jumping. I mean, this is amazing. Thank you, Admiral Allen.
When people first meet Lila, her presence grabs their attention.
They always think how mature she is because she holds herself at such a level. She likes to keep people safe, and she wants to make sure that anybody around her is just safe.
She was leading a group in JRTC at the high school, and one of the freshmen was going through issues with her personal stuff, and Lila kind of brought her in and brought her to our house and mentored her and helped her talk through some things. And it was very mature for someone, you think someone in the beginning of high school, they're still figuring themselves out, but she naturally reached out and was helping someone else.
It doesn't matter whether she's known the person for years and years or she just met them off the street. She's going to help that person or help them get the resources that they need in order to get out of the situation that they're in.
I've heard her called Mama Lila. I've heard her called Madam President. I've heard her called Rabbi Lila. I've heard her called a teacher. And she's all those things and more. But for me, she's loving and caring.
So Lila Starr is an outlier. That is what she is. She shines the light on everybody else to make them feel good, confident, and secure. And that's what makes her absolutely remarkable. Just the thought of you starting your life, wherever that takes you, graduating with your double bachelor's and heading to law school. I love you and I'm so proud of you.
Now it's time for the National Guard Award for Lila Morgan. Presenting the Military Child of the Year Award is General Stephen Nordhaus, Chief of the National Guard.
Isn't this a great night? It's great to see some of my teammates I was in meetings with earlier today too. Daryl, good to see you. Tom, good to see you. Johnny. Hey, let's hear it for Lindsay for putting on and being the incredible MC tonight. And Lindsay, I'm going to do a sports analogy for you. So the National Guard's excited to back cleanup tonight, which we've been doing for our nation since 1636. 390 years. We love it. Alan, thank you to Operation Homefront. My wife Shannon and I are super honored to be here and celebrate resilience and leadership of our military children and representing the National Guard of 435,000 service members and their families. The National Guard families face unique challenges, often separated from other military families, right? They typically navigate military life on their own while often separated in doing other military and civilian careers. Deployments and short notice emergencies can pull citizen soldiers and airmen away at a moment's notice. Tonight I have the pleasure of recognizing a shining example of one of the many young men and women while navigating the unique challenges of a National Guard family. I am proud to introduce the 2026 Military Child of the Year for the National Guard, Lila Morgan. Yes, I have a few more things to say. I wanted to get you excited about the end of the night, but we got a few more. So, Lila is the daughter of Courtney and First Lieutenant Larry Morgan. Her father served a combined 15 years in the Marine Corps and the Army National Guard, including 36 months on deployment. As a child, Lila knows that service means you're always ready and always there. She knows that duty can call suddenly, missing birthdays, holidays, and everyday events and moments, but she also knows the pride and purpose that comes with that service. Lila faced many challenges and developed deep resilience, turning friction into momentum, into meaningful change. She graduated from high school at 16, and at 18, she is already a senior at the University of South Florida, on track to graduate with a double major in political science and criminology. That's just incredible. She is a cadet lieutenant colonel in the Civil Air Patrol, a congressional intern, and a published author. Her drive doesn't stop there. This fall, she is headed to Israel, to Jerusalem for a year of study, and then the American University for a dual master's in public policy and a law degree, with the goal of becoming a judge advocate general in the Army. Lila's record of service is astonishing. In the last 12 months alone, she's completed over 1,600 volunteer hours. And when Lila faced rising anti-Semitism on her campus, she didn't withdraw. She became a leader. Working with the university administration in the campus groups, she helped expand Jewish life and introduce kosher food options. That's what warrior ethos is all about. We don't walk past problems, and she didn't. She solved hard problems. You are a testament to the strength of our National Guard families, an amazing example of what it means to strive for excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, now please join me in giving a double round of applause for this inspiring young leader, our 2026 National Guard Military Child of the Year, Lila Morgan.
Congratulations, Lila. What does this moment mean to you?
Well, I'm going to take the mic because I'm more comfortable holding a mic. There's a Hebrew word called nachas. There's no direct English translation, but what it means is to give a gift to our parents and to our grandparents and our teachers of a sense of pride. For me, my life is about giving nachas to my grandparents and my parents who have sacrificed so much for me to be here. So to stand on this stage and know my parents are watching, my grandparents are watching, and that I represent every branch of the military, because every branch of the military has a service member in my family. So to stand on this stage and accept an award for something that inherently is part of who I am and part of my being sends me a great sense of nachas, knowing I'm doing something for my community.
That is awesome. We sat in the room earlier, and one thing I loved is that you identify your family as Team Morgan, which I think is great, which is huge. And my daughter asked you what music you listen to, and you said the artist Jax, and it was a song, you said your favorite song was a song called Like My Father. We didn't recognize that song immediately, so we played the song, and as we started to play the song, you start singing, you have a beautiful voice, and we started crying about 2 lines in, because the song is about Jax's perspective of watching her father and the way he treats his mother, and that is the type of modeling you should have. Why is that